Hi, I'm Todd Henderson. Today we're going to install a GatorTrax retractable cover on this 2016 Toyota Tacoma. Let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove our tie-downs that are up at the front next to the bulkhead. We're going to use a T40 Torx bit to pull those out. We're going to do that on both sides. Next, we're going to remove our bulkhead bar. We're going to use a T30 Torx bit to take out the bolts. We're going to retain this because it's going back in place. Now we're going to place our foam blocks. We're going to remove the backing and expose the adhesive and place those on. We're going to do that on both sides. Now we're going to reinstall our header rail. To tighten these bolts back down, we're going to use a ratchet rather than the impact driver so we don't over torque these as we're putting them back in. All right, now what I'm about to do on the driver's side, we're going to repeat on the passenger side as well. We've got a block that's in here. It's a lock from the factory to keep the canister from moving around. We're going to use a Phillips head screwdriver, pull the screw out that holds that in place, and we can remove that from the cover. Next, this label, we're going to remove that. That releases our packing cord. We're going to pull that out. Pull that out of the spiral like so. We're also, on the driver's side, going to open up the latch so we don't stop ourselves from installing the rail. Now we're going to go ahead and attach the driver's side rail to the canister. Now you're going to notice that the driver's side rail has got a little tab with a threaded hole on it towards the bulkhead. Then immediately behind there, there's a kind of a short, about a 4-inch long tab that has a threaded hole as well. What we're going to do is we're going to raise up the blanket. We're going to let that roll right into the rail. And slide this forward, and we'll allow this hole to slide forward to get behind this hole here, and the hole in the front needs to drop in place behind that hole on the canister. We're going to use the supplied silver machine screws, line up the holes, and thread them in. We're going to do this on driver and passenger side. Once we have the driver's side rail installed, we're going to want to bring the blanket back and lock it down so it doesn't move around while we're installing it. Next, what we're going to do is install the canister cover. Now it's going to slide into place underneath the rails, but a good step to take before we do that is you got some threaded holes. Quite often they're coated with powder coat. So we're going to take one of our supplied Allen screws that go into the hole. We're going to put it in place. We're going to take the Allen head or the Allen wrench that's also supplied for us, and we're going to dig that through the powder coat to clear that out. It's a lot easier to do it out here than when it's lined up. So once we've got those threads cleared out, we do that on both sides, and we can go ahead and insert this into the rails, just like so. This hole is going to line up to the hole in the canister cover. And just take that same screw, put it back through there, line it up, and tighten it down. We're going to do that on both sides. All right, right, next with the help of a spare set of hands, we're going to lift up the entire assembly, bring it all the way up to the bulkhead, and drop it into place. Okay, next thing we're going to want to do is make sure that our rail is spaced properly to the tailgate. So what we're going to do is we're going to close the tailgate. Close it nice and gentle. We're going to have a spacer tool. We're going to slide the rail back to the tailgate until it touches that spacer tool. Make sure we have got the same spacing on the other side as well. Next, we're going to go ahead and take the plug out of the end of our deck rail, and we're going to insert these deck rail inserts for the clamps. Now you notice it has a little sticker on it that says this side down, so we want to put those in the proper orientation, like so. We're going to put one directly below this hole in the rail, and the other one directly below this hole in the rail. Next, we're going to take our clamps, slide them behind. We're going to use the provided bolt and washer, and we're going to loosely put that together. Next, we're going to take our larger bolt and thread that through the clamp into the insert in the deck rail. We'll repeat the same process in all 4 clamps. All right, so next what we're going to do is we're going to use an 11mm and tighten down the clamp to the rail, and do that on all 4 clamps. Now to tighten the clamps to the deck rails, we're going to first close the tailgate. We're going to bear down on the top of the rail to make sure this seal is touching the tailgate as we tighten down that clamp. We're tightening down this clamp with a 14mm. Bearing down on the front, we're going to go ahead and tighten down the front clamp as well, same way. Repeat the same process on the driver's side. All right, next what we can do is reinstall our plugs. And now we can install our deck rail tie-down cleats. Those are going to go in. You're going to want to find one of the little notches in the deck rail system, and insert it sideways, and set it wherever you want to place it in between the clamps. You just press in, turn it sideways, rotate it in place. All right, next what we're going to do to make sure everything is even is we're going to measure the inside of the rail right above the clamp at the back. We're going to make sure that's the same measurement in between the clamps at the front. And in this situation it is. It's going to be the same right in the inside of the rails, right where the screws are, where it holds the canister cover together. As long as it is, you don't have to do any of other modifications. If it's not, if it's a little wider at the back or at the front, you're going to want to use these shims. You'll use your 11mm to remove the bolt that holds the rail to the clamp. You'll slide that U-shaped shim in between the rail and the clamp behind the bolt and put the bolt back in, tighten it down. Do that on both sides. Next, we're going to test the operation of the cover. Now we can go ahead and remove all the protectant film. Now before we install our drain tubes, we're going to go ahead and remove the plastic film that protects the canister. Now to install the drain tubes, what we're going to first do is use the supplied washers, run them over the base of the drain tube. And then there's a hole in the bottom of the canister. The drain tube's going to plug right into there. Once you hear it click, it's installed. Next, we're going to make a little access hole in our bed rug and use a step bit and drill a hole right through the bed of the truck, and then run the drain tube through that so it can drain out. And repeat the same process on the passenger side. Well, that concludes the installation. If you have any questions, call the experts. We're here to help you pick the right parts for you.